Welcome everybody. I was presented with a scene today from my galactic guides, and the scene only lasted a few minutes. It was a family, farmers, but they were a family. There was the farmer there. There was his wife, and there was a couple of children there, and they were stood by a craft, and this craft looked like Mercury, but it was the same shape as a teardrop. Now there was a man, a really tall man, stood, and he was wearing what I can only describe as a blue boiler suit, coverall, but it was fairly tight. It wasn't skin tight, but it was fairly tight. It was very well fitted. Now the interesting thing about these people was they weren't frightened of this person, and I could hear their conversation, and they said to this tall chap in the blue about it being a craft, and he said it's an interdimensional craft, and those was his words. It's an interdimensional craft. Now the time period, the farmer was dressed in a like a sports jacket with a tie and a collar, and the dress, or the way he was dressed, was around the late 40s, middle to late 50s, around that period. Now they were pushing this craft into a barn, and this barn, I also overheard them say, we'll put this craft into the cider cellar. Now I took it that this cider cellar is where obviously they store apples and cider, once they've made cider, underneath this barn. Now it was in England. The accents were southern England. They weren't frightened of this man. It was like they were meeting a friend, and it was quite interesting because he was really comfortable and relaxed around the family. But they put this craft into it went down underneath the floorboards of this, or what appeared to be the floorboards. It was a floor underneath this barn into this cider cellar. There were farm implements and there were cows in this particular barn, livestock, and they weren't spooked or frightened of this craft or this being that was with them. I only saw the one being, but it was a very, very interesting scene, really was. So it's telling me, or showing me, that these galactic beings have been around and been friendly for quite some time. On that note, thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.